you're new here, welcome back to my channel if you're a channel viewer or subscriber. In today's video I'm going to be showing you all the books that I hope to get through in November. If you haven't already seen it, in my October TBR I set myself a hugely ambitious reading goal, and I obviously didn't manage to get to all the books that I chose for myself, so there will be a couple of repeats in this video. I think November is still appropriate, at least the beginning of it for sure, for kind of like spookier, darker reads. November is one of my least favourite months in the entire year, and it's because the clocks go back or forward or whatever it is. The clocks change and it starts getting dark at like 3:30 p.m. It's getting cold. I was born in Australia. It adds up, and I struggle so much for this month. We literally were like one day into it and I was already like looking out the window at like 4 p.m. It was getting dark and I was having a moment. But in recent years I've really tried to love the season. Recent years I've also developed SAD, so that's another point. But aside from that, I think the only way that I've kind of managed to understand November is by really playing into it, embracing it, leaning into those kind of dark gothic vibes. So you should see some of that reflected within my reading, because I want to just like embrace the season. So in terms of the books I'm currently in the middle of, I would obviously love to finish before the end of November. It's 31st of October today, so whether I'll finish these today, not sure. But the books I'm currently in the middle of are number 1, Ninth House by Bardugo. I'm halfway through that. I would have loved to have finished it by the end of this month, but it's just been, it's a really slow read. My reading pace seems to be quite low for that one. Another one is Magnolia Parks. I'm reading that via audiobook. Would also have loved to finish that by the end of today, but again, can't see that happening. The tasks I have to do, I need no distractions. And then I'm also in the middle of, I think, Bound by Treason, which is a really rubbish Kindle romantasy book, but it's fun. It's like a novella, and I just read that before bed whenever I feel a bit anxious. And then lastly, I'm in the middle of this one, which is My Rock and Roll Friend by Tracey Thorn. This is a kind of memoir written by Tracey Thorn about her rock and roll friend, Lindy Morrison. This book has had some really good lines, but then a lot of it is just quite boring. So I've been struggling with this. I've been reading it basically since like August or something, maybe the very beginning of September, and I have about 100 pages left, so I think I could get this done. Also, November is non-fiction November, so I would love to read some non-fiction, and this is currently the only pick I have, but maybe I'll pick something else up along the month. But yeah, I would love to finish this book in November and get it off my TBR, because I'll get it off my currently reading list, because I've been reading it for a long time, like I said, and it's just like I could just like sit down and get through this honestly in like one sitting or something. Also feel really accomplished because I'll finish the book very quickly, probably quite early on in the month. So that's the first book we have that's definitely on my TBR. Those are my current reads. Everything else here is a new book to me. First up we have Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. I don't know why I had to like double check who the author was there. It's just everything that I'm trying to go for in this season. So Northanger Abbey is like a little kind of like play into the gothic novel. It's almost like a satire of that. It's meant to be one of the best written Austen books. I've read 3 of her books. Actually, I DNF'd Emma. I read Pride and Prejudice when I was very young. And then this year I read Sense and Sensibility. And all of the books are free on Audible as audiobooks. That's the way that I read Sense and Sensibility, is that I listened to the audiobook as I read along physically from my copy. And that's the same thing I want to do with this, because the audiobook was amazing. It was narrated by Rosamund Pike. She did the most amazing job, because Audible managed to get Rosamund Pike. I'm sure they'll have got someone decent for this one as well. So I'm excited for that whole experience. It's a very short little book. I'd love to read more Austen by the end of the year, and this is my pick. So let's just read you a little bit about the synopsis. Catherine Morland is a young girl with a very active imagination. Her entry into the fashionable social scene in Bath results in an invitation to stay with new friends at Northanger Abbey. But Catherine's naivety and love for sensational novels leads to embarrassing and entertaining consequences. I have like pretty high hopes for this book. I feel like it could be a favourite Austen book for me. We'll see. I'll let you know. This is a repeat from October's TBR, a book that I'm carrying over because I didn't manage to get to, but I actually think it's almost more appropriate for this month than it is last month. And that's If We Were Villains by Emma Rio. So this is a dark academia book, and we are following a bunch of friends who are all in a Shakespeare class at university. A murder takes place and one of them is convicted of that. And then you flash back into the past and you see how the events went down, and also you find out whether the person who was convicted and is in jail for the crime actually committed it. It sounds amazing. I've had nothing but good things. I've heard the writing is really beautiful, and I'm just so excited. Doesn't this look perfect for November? This is actually like quite high priority. I feel like once I've read my current reads, this is going to be one that I'll pick up pretty soon. Another one from last month, we have Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. This is the first book in a new series, and I think it's quite long. It's 4 or 5 books. So I'm a little bit apprehensive because of that, but I think that it just sounds amazing. This is another kind of dark academia book. We're following a girl who is at school. She's at high school, but she goes to a private school in New England. I think it's in Vermont. And while she's there, she investigates a case that happened in the 1930s that was like an unsolved murder. And so you get like the current timeline as well as like the unfolding events of the past. It sounds so good, very fun, very bingeable because it is YA and the font's quite big and everything like that. So again, if I just want a bit of fun, if I want something that's appropriate for the season but not going to take massive brain power, which I think If We Were Villains will do, this is my pick. I also don't want this hardcover, so I want to see if I like it and then I can purchase the paperback, because I don't know why I ever chose hardcover. Okay, I know I said that If We Were Villains was high priority TBR. This book is very high priority TBR. And that's because I want to finish this series. This is Finale, which is the third and final book in the Caraval trilogy by Stephenie Garber. I've had so much hype around Stephenie Garber's books because the very final book in the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy was released in October and everyone was going crazy over it, giving it such high ratings. I would love to move on to that series, but in order to do that I want to finish the Caraval one because this is technically like the prequel series to that one. Finale I've been putting off because I just feel like it looks really long. These books take me quite a while to get through, but I was actually flicking through this the other day and I realized it's literally 450 pages and the font's big. Like, what am I worried about? It's YA as well. I think I could just like binge this. Also, I'm always scared of cracking the spine of this series. There's quite a lot of give. I don't know. That's irrelevant. Caraval follows two sisters who get swept up in this kind of carnival game called Caraval. It's a very magical, whimsical world, but it's also quite dark. The whole idea is that it's meant to be like, how much of this is real, how much of this isn't. The game kind of messes with your kind of like your sanity. You can get seriously physically injured through the game or even die. So it's kind of like high stakes, but like masked by this fun circus-like event. The second book is kind of like a little bit of a repeat of what we just had in the first book, but this third book I think is going to be quite different. There's like a love triangle in this one, and yeah, I didn't love how Legendary left off, like in terms of like hinting the direction this book was going to go in, but I'm still intrigued by it and I would obviously love to finish the series. I do love some of these characters and I love one of the romances in it. So good. I would have just put this in my December TBR because final book in the series, I could just finish it before the end of the year, but I want to read The Toll, which is the final book in the Scythe series, by the end of the year as well. So I think I'm going to save that one for December and we'll read another chunky kind of like final book in November. So yeah, high priority TBR. I want to do like a lot of reading this month, if you can't tell. And then lastly, on the official TBR, aside from books that like I might just want to pick up for fun, we have The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. I've been so messy in this video because I've told you about so many high priority reads, but actually this is extremely high priority because they've actually adapted The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which is a prequel book to the Hunger Games. So we're going to get a new Hunger Games film this month. The trailer is kind of rubbish, but at the same time I'm desperate to see it because I grew up on the Hunger Games books and films, adored them. They were absolutely like 6-star reads for me. So basically this month I want to read this book, A, before the film comes out because I want to read the book first, and B, because I want to film a vlog reading this book. Spoiler free for anyone kind of like excited and hyped for the film, same as I am. But the thing is, this is long. This is a long book. Again, it's YA, so it shouldn't be too horrible, but it's 500 pages and the font's like decently small, and it's gonna take me a while and I'm scared because I actually can't remember when the film comes out. So I think this is when I need to start like pretty soon so I can really like get that video filmed, edited, polished off and uploaded before the film comes out, or like on the day it comes out or something like that. So that is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. This is also a book I received a while ago. When did I get this? I got it for my birthday, 2020. So it is very much about time that I picked it up. Maybe I'll put 9,000 paws so we can get this one done. But let me just go collect the books and then we can have a look at what the month's looking like. Okay friends, I'm pretty sure I just jogged the tripod, so sorry if the angle's a bit different, but these are the books that I would love to get to in the month of November. We have 6 total, which doesn't seem like a huge amount, but I do have a lot of them in the middle of. I still need to make like a lot of progress in order to get finished. I don't know. It might be a bit easier because Northanger Abbey is the audiobook. Also this, I'm in the middle of. Let's just discount this for a second. So we have these books, 5 books. Audiobook should be a quick read, If We Were Villains, I think it's going to take me a bit of time, but if I really love the story, then I could whiz through it. And The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, I'm slightly terrified for. But maybe again I could find like an audiobook to like speed up the process of reading that one. I'm excited for the month. There's lots of books I'm very hyped for. I'm just not sure that I'm going to get to all of them because, as we all know, if we've been here for a while, I'm not the fastest reader in the world. But I think this video is probably going to be quite short, so let's do some predicted ratings and some first lines. I'm not going to lie to you friends, I'm thinking this book's going to be a 2.5 or a 3 because, like I said, I am bored by it. There are the odd good moments. I have no desire to pick this up ever. I read it in the bath yesterday because I was like, you bring this book in, leave your phone out, and then you can't get distracted by anything. I did that. I read like 2 chapters and I was just like dragging my feet a bit. But anyways, first line in this: a woman is in a TV studio being interviewed. That's that. Let's do a little stack, which you can't even see. There we go. Put it there. Nothing Abbey, I'm hoping, is like a 4.5 or even 5, because I gave Sense and Sensibility a 4, and like I said, I'm expecting to love this one, or I'm hoping to love this one more than that. No one who had ever seen Catherine Morland in her infancy would have supposed her born to be a heroine. I like that. If we were villains, oh, I would love if this was a 5-star read. Probably like at least a 4. I'm desperate because I gave The Secret History a 4. People are either Secret History girlies or they're If We Were Villains girlies, and I want to be an If We Were Villains girlie because Secret History was good, but it just wasn't anything like particularly special for me. So I'm really wanting to love this. I never know whether to read the prologue or not. I sit with my wrists cuffed to the table and I think, but that I am forbid to tell the secrets of my prison house. I could a tale unfold those whose lightest word would harrow up their soul. Immediate Shakespeare quote. I think there's gonna be a lot of that. Finale. I've given every single book in the Caraval series 4 stars. So the 2 previous ones. Don't know why I said every single, although this series has like 10 books. 4 stars for Caraval, 4 stars for Legendary. If this was lower than that, I'd be very disappointed. But if I get 4 stars or above, we'll be more than happy. Let's see if I can read this line without spoiling anything for you. Scarlet Dragner's bedroom was a palace built of wonder and the magic of make-believe. Beautiful. Screams, magic and whimsy, which we would expect nothing less from that series. Truly Devious. I think it's gonna be a fun time, but it could be like a 3.5. I'm hoping it's like a 4, but I also need to like embrace the fact that it's YA because then I think I might enjoy it better. Fate came for Dottie Epstein a year earlier in the form of a call to the principal's office. And then finally, we have The Ballad on Songbirds and Snakes. If you didn't know this already, I did a video a couple of years ago where I reread The Hunger Games the first time in 9 years. Crazy stuff. And I loved it. 5 stars immediately. Like, it was not just the nostalgia, I was able to kind of look at it a little bit objectively and be like, this book is actually so good. 12-year-old me, or however old I was, knew what she was doing when she rated that book 5 stars. I haven't reread the other 2 books in the series, but I fully expect them to be 5 stars as well. So I would love that to happen here. We don't have the nostalgic element. We also don't love President Snow, who this book is about. I didn't even explain this, but it's like Hunger Games prequel following President Snow and him like rising up from a mentor to lead of the games. So this is like a villain origin story essentially. But in this house, we hate this man. So I'm not sure how much I'm going to kind of sympathize or empathize with him. Corey released the fistful of cabbage into the pot of boiling water and swore that one day it would never pass his lips again. Interesting. Also besties, oh, drop my book stack. Midnight Sun, didn't get to it last month, so it could be fun to read that. I was just reminded of it because this is a candle that I actually made from scratch, the green one. It's Twilight themed, so it smells like pine woods and affection. November is Twilight season for me. That's truly like the pinnacle of it. So if I really fall into that mode, I might just read that 700-page book. Throw away my entire TBR and read that instead. But we'll see how that goes. Maybe that'll happen, maybe it won't. Maybe I'll audiobook it. I'll let you know by the end of the month. Because right now, this is a bit of a messy TBR because I have no idea. Beautiful stack of books. Can't wait to read them all. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, because that's how I can tell. And I will see you very soon in a couple of days for my October wrap up actually. I read a lot of books in October. I'm excited to talk to you about them all. But for now, I'm going to leave you in peace and go about the rest of my day. I hope you have a wonderful one or wonderful evening or whatever it is, whatever time it is, wherever you are. But until next time, bye bye.